Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
I'm sorry, Hooks. I thought you were asking when you said that.
No. No. No, sir.
No, sir. All right. So, anybody watching the stream, we're getting ready to start the shizzy.
Probably. I don't even care. I probably sound like a dick.
That's okay. Somebody you hating on?
Yeah, Zach Moss hard.
Yeah, I'm hating on someone hard too. It's not Zach Moss, but it's
Zach Moss is like my guy.
I kind of he's one of mine too.
Okay.
My guy.
Not to give too much away. That's okay. I mean, it would really suck if we all liked the same guys. That would suck. But we don't. So, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I might be having. Okay. Maybe it'll sound better to me when we start.
What?
I don't know.
Your mic?
I don't know. I don't feel like anything's going on here.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready when you guys are. I just wanted to put them in actual order.
I'm just starting. I was just getting the stream chat up before I hit record. Took me a minute. All right. In 3, 2, 1. Today on the Back Row Fantasy Show, we talk 2020 NFL Draft rookie running backs. Pretty excited about this one, and there's some hate to go around.
Welcome to the Back Row Fantasy Show with your hosts, Jeremy Barker, Aaron Arms, and Brian Hucks.
Hey, welcome to the Back Row Fantasy Show again. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. Hucks could not hear. He
Could not hear. Yeah.
Lost his hearing.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So welcome
I
again.
hope you're okay. Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers, Hucks.
Thank
Thoughts and prayers. Little Facebook stuff going on. So welcome. We're going to talk about rookie running backs on this show. It's me, Bark. To my left, as always, is Arms.
Good morning.
And to my right, as always, is Hucks.
Yeah, buddy.
It's kind of nice to say, as always, to my right
Yeah.
is Hucks. Not Bubba, not... Who else have we had on here? Who
Lambert.
else has been in Lambert?
967 the Lamb.
Well, yeah, Lambert. He's meh. He's a staple, just not the staple.
It's been about it for quite a while. Probably a year.
Yeah, Bauer. When did Bauer?
Yeah, but
come in?
Bauer was never. He was always he was across the table from you once.
That's true. He was
Yeah.
never to my right. So, all right. So we're going to talk some rookie running backs. We've been cramming, watching film. I was a little more surprised digging deep on this. Which, granted, I've got 8. Hucks, you said you have 8.
Yep.
I've got 10.
Got 10. Okay, so whatever running
The
backs.
last couple guys, to be honest with you, they're kind of like, I was just looking, and I'm like, hey, I like this guy.
Yeah.
And another one's like,
Yeah,
I kind of like this
the
guy
bottom,
too.
My 7 and 8 could be interchanged with some guys I don't have even wrote
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, I felt that there was like a very strong 2 tiers, but I haven't watched tape on anyone past about 9.
I agree with you.
So I'm thinking there's probably going to be a sleeper or two that sneaks in. I know one guy I'm wanting to knock out of my top 8 completely, but I haven't got far enough in the tape. So I went with kind of the consensus top 5 to 8. So that being said, anything before we dig right in?
I mean, nothing crazy in the world of sports right now.
No.
No.
I can't think of anything. Ryan Newman, good to see he survived.
Walked away
that-
with like nothing.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was nuts.
apparently that guy's got a wicked highlight reel of insane crashes. But of course, when you're going 200 miles an hour, your crash is going to be insane.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that looked like, it looked like the worst of the worst.
Oh yeah, well, that's a crazy thing. Like, and of course, it's been 19 years now. When Dale Earnhardt died, it didn't look that bad.
No.
No.
And you got to give, NASCAR credit for the, how far they've come with their safety. So,
Improvements, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, well, that all came down to the Hans unit. Now it's a requirement, not a, an option. So
yeah.
So yeah, what did Ryan Newman escape with? I don't know. I know that he was.
I don't
Like,
even know if he had a broken rib. I don't know.
I didn't see any like official like injury, but I mean it was like probably just bumps and bruises, man. It wasn't-
wow.
I mean he's not racing this weekend, but I mean I
don't know if I'd ever race again, but whatever.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him back next weekend.
I mean, maybe like Ricky Bobby, like, ah!
Dude, those guys are wired different.
yeah.
It's crazy.
And until he comes, face to face with a cougar inside of a locked vehicle, it could be a while. But maybe his dad will put a cougar in his car, and who knows. So, how do you guys want to start? Do we want to go through our number ones on through, or do we want to go with what seems to be the consensus one and work our way down that way? We haven't talked much today. We miss each other, so we don't know how we're starting, but we know what we got.
So, I mean, I don't care. However you guys
I
want
mean
to do
I think
it.
the top three's the
Yeah,
same.
yeah,
in
interchangeable.
some order.
Well, how about I start
It's
with
very, 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 very slightly off, but
how about I start with where NFL mock drafts have guys going? So we start at the top with DeAndre Swift. In that sense, that's the guy I've seen most commonly put in round one. I've seen a couple other guys sneak into round one, but I've seen more mocks than not with DeAndre Swift as the only first round running back. I'll Arms take it away, and I'll come in last.
So he's obviously a phenomenal talent. Here's my knock against him. I would just go ahead and get the knock out of the way. Against top talent or top programs, he didn't do great. He never had like showcase games. Auburn 106 yards. This is at the time of playing top 25. So Auburn 106 yards. Florida, it took 25 carries to get to 86 yards, and then Notre Dame he had 98 yards. He never had a 200-yard game. Maybe he had one. No, he never had a 200-yard game in 2019. I only say that because some of the other guys had, several of them.
Right.
Yards per carry, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was good.
Whenever I say he never had 200-yard game, he also never had 200 carries in a season.
Right.
All right, his this last season I think was his career high of like 196.
Yep.
And granted, he didn't have those other backs ahead of him like he did early on in his career in Chubb and Sony.
Yeah, that's I was going to get into the stats there. So average 6.2 yards carried this season, 1,216 yards, 7 touchdowns, thrown in another 24 receptions for 216 and 1. Pretty natural at pass catching. Like he looked out of all the guys, he probably looked the most ready to win a one-on-one matchup against a nickel corner or safety.
Yeah. Let me add something to your comment there. His freshman year, he actually was the team's leading receiving back over Chubb and Michelle. So
Yeah. Going through the stats, though, it's crazy because last year, 1,049 yards, 10 touchdowns. Oh, by the way, they had Elijah Holyfield.
I forgot about Elijah.
Yeah,
easy to do now.
Yeah, no doubt. His freshman year with Chubb and Sony Michel. Two really good running backs who are doing well in the NFL even. Still 618 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, granted, some of those had to do with blowouts, right? That's the reason he gets on the field. So who is he running those yards up against? But, I mean, he's overall an excellent running back. Seemed to break off. Go ahead.
He's a weapon.
Seemed to break off a long play every game. Seven games with at least one play over 30 yards. So, yeah, that's what I've got on him.
Hux?
Pretty much the same. I mean, he's got a great burst. He's great vision. He's patient runner. He's a good pass blocker. So he should be a 3-down back.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been a workhorse back. He's limited on his carries, which could be a good thing.
So was Josh Jacobs.
Do you think
That's
he'll
what
be
I'm
a
saying.
workhorse back at the next level?
I mean, I think he has the ability to be a workhorse back. I mean, obviously that's going to depend on what team he goes to. But, I mean, I definitely could see him being a 20-touch guy between, carries and receptions. But, I mean, he's definitely got a total package. The only real knock I have on him, and he's not great in short yardage goal line situations. I mean, I don't have much other negatives on him.
There's also a little question mark about his health. I mean, he had a shoulder injury at the end of the year.
Yeah, there's a little bit there.
To where the other two or three top guys
Yeah.
don't have that.
Right. I've got to add. I'll add to your cons, which is where you kind of ended. Like he is he's capable in pass protection, but he's not really great in pass pro yet. We could probably attribute a little bit of that to the fact that he's 5'9".
Yeah,
He could
but
probably
So's
get,
every other guy on
But
this
he's
list.
he's a solid
Yeah.
215. So I mean,
he is, yeah. So
I
he's
mean,
capable,
Yeah.
but he hasn't quite gotten there yet. Not a ton of weaknesses. I mean, that offensive line, you could kind of say, let's see what happens when he gets behind a weaker offensive line in the
thought about
NFL. That could be one thing, but as far as the pros, the great thing about this draft is you go through, the running backs and wide receivers, and you got to go down the list a little bit before you start getting into a bunch of cons. I mean, the reason these guys are going pro is because most of their abilities are pros,
Yeah.
and rather than cons. So DeAndre Swift, I've changed the direction, is absolutely phenomenal. He's extremely shifty. He's got the speed, long ball speed included. He's not going to get caught from behind. His vision is excellent. I mean, he can stop on a dime, cut it a completely different way. We saw a lot of plays where it was designed to go one way or the other, and he changed the play based on what he saw with his eyes. Acceleration doesn't take him long at all to hit that next gear. Like Arm said, he does have hands, his feet, his patience, a little bit Le'Veon Bell-like behind the line.
I thought about that.
Sometimes to his detriment, sometimes it's a little too much, which you could possibly put in the weakness category. We might see, I don't take this literally, but I mean, we might see a Barry Sanders-like prime from him where he will either get tackled for a loss or bust one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, to me, he's got that kind of talent. I hate saying that because it's Barry Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, but Barry would make up for it with 20-yard gain the next play. So.
Yes, exactly. And DeAndre Swift, I think, can do the same thing. He might get tackled behind the line, more than your average NFL running back, but he's also going to have more long runs than your average NFL running back.
So I'll push back on you a little bit with that. It seemed like he had a lot of big plays, and I cited that. He only had 5 games of over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Only one over 150.
Yeah.
Now, they were winning handily a lot,
And he doesn't get a ton of carries.
but that shocked me for the guy who's projected to most likely be the top running back off the board. I kind of, even with equal-ish carries in some of these games, that's kind of was my knock on him. That's one of the reasons I don't have him as my number 1.
Right. Yeah. He's not my number 1 either. I've got him firmly entrenched as my 2. You as well, Hux? You got him 2 or 3?
When I first did my rankings earlier, I had him 3. I put him at 2 when I got done. So I mean, he's interchangeable. 2, 3.
It is, man. Like, I hate to knock him down any farther than 2, but it is debatable, and landing spots could be could have a lot to do with it. I will add one more.
When it comes
con.
to rookie drafts, it's definitely going to be landing spots, obviously.
Yeah. Which, granted, I mean, if he lands in a spot with if he lands in the Colts, I'm off. I'm not real keen on Marlon Mack. Like, there's situations he could go to that doesn't look like the best landing spot, but it ultimately could be.
Oh, yeah.
You still want to take all that
He could
does
be in
is
Detroit.
maybe. Yeah, it might just knock him down your drafts a little bit, and you're like, absolutely, I will take him.
Yeah, still got to take him with the 4th overall pick. Dang it,
Darn.
Oh yeah.
I do think he tries to do a little too much. There were some guys on this list that I liked some things out of them better than what he does, because he does try to do too much. He does move around. He does go backwards. He has a tendency to step back and try to get around people. And I'll lead into the next guy. I'll just lead off.
I
with
tried
this
to
guy.
not hate on him for that, but then I got to thinking, I'm like, man, his offensive line is just as good as everybody else's.
Right.
Like there's a guy on my list that it ranks pretty high to where you just, whenever you watched him get the ball, you're like, oh my God, there's 5 guys on him,
Yeah.
like at the handoff. And Swift didn't have that problem. And yet there were still times he danced around behind the line a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So
Now,
anyway, go ahead.
Neil is on the chat. He mentioned his favorite guy, even though he's been ran to death. This is my favorite guy. This is my number 1. It's Jonathan Taylor. And the con is right there in front of us. What pushing the dude ran for 6,000 yards in the past 3 years. Tons of carries.
Yeah, over 900
But he's
carries.
only got 3 years too, so let's keep
He's
that in
only
mind.
got 3
It's in a
years.
Ron Dane
Yeah,
situation.
I'm not afraid of him. I'm not afraid of all those carries. And what I like about Jonathan Taylor that I didn't like about DeAndre Swift is he is always moving forward. He's shifty in his own right, but he's moving forward. I'll save the rest of what I got till after we go around the table.
So I'll stick on Taylor. I have Taylor actually as my number 2.
Yeah, we'll
have-
just stick with him.
Yeah, so career yards. So 1977, 2194, and then 2003 in consecutive years. Basically averaged 300 carries a season, though. But dude's got a nose for the end zone. 13, 16, and 21. It showed he could catch the ball a little bit this year with 26 catches.
Yeah, last year they gave it to him a little more, and that's always encouraging. I was down in Leonard Fournette, and turns out like he has caught some balls. Huck's pointed that out on an episode. So just because they don't catch the ball in college does not mean they can't.
It's just the style of offense that the team runs. I mean, it's not, just Wisconsin, the ground and pound, not really known for their throwing.
So some interesting things about him. He has the 12 200-yard games, which is an NCAA record. All right. Career 100-yard games, he has 32. D'Angelo Williams has the record with 34. All right. This guy's like 2 games away from having his own damn Mount Rushmore. Like, he's ridiculous. The career rushing record, Donnell Pumphrey, 6405. Jonathan Taylor, 6174 in 3 freaking years.
In 3 years. Which, granted, a lot of running backs, I don't know when Pumphrey came out, but I assume he's...
About 2-3 years ago.
Well, no, I mean, did he come out after 3 years? Did he play 4?
It was 4.
Okay.
And it took 4 years for him to be, which he did about halfway through his senior year, but, man, he beat Ron Dane, who held it forever.
Yeah. And for those guys, we're talking 1,600 yards a year. Jonathan Taylor, it's $2,000.
It was going to be 8,000 yards.
Yeah.
Like, he was going to have a 1,600 yard lead on second place in history. This year alone, this is the incredible thing, like, to look at his stats. 1,000-yard games, 550-plus yard games, and, like, one of them that I can't count was 148. 4 200-yard games, 7 games with a play over 30 yards, and against top 25 competition, he had 6.2 yards a carry, 823 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I think if I'm not mistaken, he only played 5 games against top 25 competition.
Yeah.
Like, the dude balled. And there was, other than basically Ohio State, whenever Ohio State pretty much shut him down the first time they played, like, he really didn't have a bad game in a regular game. There's, some blowout games to where it's like, well, they're up 28 points in the first quarter, get him out.
Right. Now we're not on this player, but I do want to mention some of the comments. We got Stoops, our boy Stoops, Bruning from the Fantasy Roundtable podcast. Those guys are saying J.K. Dobbins, RB1. Don't sleep on Dobbins. We're not.
Oh, Dobbins is my RB1.
We're definitely not sleeping on him.
One also.
There we go. 2 guys have him as their 1. I do not. But these top 3, again, are kind of interchangeable. It won't surprise me if any of these 3 could be the guy in 2020 as far as rookies go. So I'll finish on, go ahead with Taylor.
One thing I'll say, he has the best vision in this whole draft.
I got that as well. And I do have some one-liners for each one of these running backs. I forgot.
Sorry.
No, you're good. DeAndre Swift, I got game breaker. That's the best way I could describe him. And then I'll get to Taylor, but go ahead, Hux.
I got a little bit wrote down on Taylor. He's he's a patient runner. He's scheme proof. He could. I think he can fit any scheme any system that he gets put in. Lower body strength is great. Between the tackle runner, one of the best at straight line burst. The only knocks I have on him, he's not that great in change of direction, and he kind of had a fumbling problem. 15 lost fumbles in 41 games.
Pretty good.
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good, Hux, bringing the info. Yeah. Was that it on Taylor?
I think he might be the hardest guy to tackle. Once contact's made.
I think I got one other guy ahead of him as being harder to tackle. But for me, Jonathan Taylor, I've got him, his one-liner's a hard runner. Subtle movements. Like, he's not as shifty as DeAndre Swift on the surface. Swift makes a lot more moves that I imagine might wear him out a little more. Jonathan Taylor's moves are so slight. He's got this habit of hopping through holes, lifting a leg to miss. I mean, I kind of look at him the way I looked at Samuel Debo last year. Debo Samuel. Got a different position, but Debo Samuel, when he caught the ball, his first thing was to look around him and look down to see, does he need to step over somebody that's beneath him? Like, he's got that kind of awareness, and Jonathan Taylor has that same awareness where he'll lift his leg going through the hole. That way someone can't grab it. He'll bend his hip left or right to squeeze through an odd space. Like, he's really got some amazing body control for a bigger running back. And he's not a bigger running back, but compared to these guys, 5'11", a little taller. So he's got a lot of wiggle for being, a little bit taller than some of these guys.
I mean, a lot of people think he's a bigger guy, but I mean
he looks like he's 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, but I mean he's a former. I mean he did track this past year at Wisconsin for the first time in his college career, but he was a track star in high school.
Looks a little slender.
He's going to run a 4.4, so right under 4.45, probably 40. I mean, the dude can fly for his size.
Yeah, and he's not bulky. He's just, he's kind of the perfect size for being 5'11". Something else I got, again, he's always moving forward. He's got great balance. I love his size. The contact is great. He does not shy away from contact, but he does know how to wiggle away from it.
Not a lot of left or right to him either.
No.
A lot of north-south.
No, he's not wasting movements out there. He's finding the hole. He's contorting his body to get through it, and then he's taking off. Stiff arm. Dude's got a great stiff arm. Beastly stiff arm. Hard to bring down. I do have that on here. As far as cons, the receiver thing, we'll wait and see. Is he going to be good out of the backfield? I think he will.
James White, we had the same concern. There's same concerns.
Absolutely. And now James White, that's pretty much all he does.
Yeah.
Ball security, like Huck said, he does fumble quite a bit. That can be fixed.
It can be.
That can be taught. So the mileage, obviously, a worry. Pass pro, I think he'll be okay. I didn't list it as a con. I think he's going to be pretty solid at it, and that's one of the things that they're looking for in the NFL. Can you pass protect? Are you just a runner, or can you do it all? And I like Jonathan Taylor a lot. I'm really hoping Miami lands him second round.
Yeah,
if he makes it there. If he makes it there,
I think he could be there early second round.
I do too.
Yeah. Possible. I mean,
but then again, guys like Rashad Penny went in round 1 in the past. I didn't expect that, so won't shock me if he goes at the end of round 1.
And I agree with you 100%. Like, the mileage thing is obviously the concern. But as I said, there's still a year less than a lot of these guys that had the mileage concern about him. And yeah, man, he just doesn't look natural as a pass catcher. Like, it's almost like whenever he's catching the ball, it's like he's got to stop to secure it and go. Whereas a Swift is like, he understands running routes and whatnot.
Absolutely. On to who I've got as my number 3. Don't hate on me. He could move up the board pretty easily. But number 1 running back for these guys. Take it away, Ohio State Buckeyes superfan Aaron Arms, J.K. Dobbins.
Listen, this dude's highlight reel should be on Pornhub. All right. I mean, this year, last year it kind of sucked. I'm just going to tell you. About 1,000 yards, 4.6 yards carried, 10 touchdowns.
He knew he sucked.
Yeah, and that's the reason he came back. This year, averaged 6.7 yards carry, 300 carries, 2,003 yards. Identical, by the way, yards and touchdowns, 21 with Jonathan Taylor. 23 receptions, basically averaging around 25 receptions a year, and a touchdown or 2 receiving a year. 7 games with burst plays of over 30 yards. I'm going to be honest with you guys. He's the best running back Ohio State's ever had.
Ooh, those are some big words.
Sure is.
I can't believe I'm saying it myself, but you look at the numbers. So 10 games this year of over 120 yards, 8 over 150, 6 over 170. I mean, just constant great games. He had 6 games versus top 25.
Even though you got one big year, you're convinced he's the best running back you've ever had?
He has the record for most yards in Ohio State.
Well, I mean, okay.
He had 2 big years. His first year.
This one was like
his freshman year, he had 1,400 yards.
Big one.
But yeah. I mean, he showed me what I need to think he's going to be great at top level. Like, I was never high on a Beanie Wells. I wasn't high on Carlos Hyde. I was high on Zeke.
Maurice Claret?
I did like him, but I just didn't think he was going to be great in the NFL. It took the right opportunity, but I think this guy's going to he could play on any team and be great. Seems to be a little more downhill than Swift. That's what I have in my notes. Man, you were talking earlier about his stiff arm. Dude, there's plays.
He's got a good one.
There's plays of him stiff arming, and the dude, the helmet knocks back on the other guy like he ran into a wall. Oh, but back to the top 25. 6 games versus top 25. In those 6 games, 1,049 yards and 11 touchdowns with a 6.5 yards per carry average. Like, there was no time that he wasn't phenomenal. The games that he didn't do well in, they were up 45 points.
Right.
I mean, I think one of them, he had 2 touchdowns, but it's 52 yards, and they won by like 40 points. So you can't hate for him not, to not have a big game against, I don't know, freaking Arkansas State or whoever the heck they played.
Yeah.
Hux.
I don't have a whole lot to add. I mean, he said pretty much it. I actually don't even have a con wrote down. Good lateral runner. I think he would possibly be best fit in a zone scheme type system. He's a good blocker. He's got good hands. He's elusive.
I think he's got the best lateral agility.
He's good balance, great vision. I mean, he's a total package for me.
He is. I couldn't agree more. And this isn't an Ohio State fan. This is
No, he's
like-
deserving. He's very deserving. The reason I have him at number 3 is just a couple small things, really small, and he could prove me absolutely wrong, but I considered him. I considered all 3 of these guys at the top. Like, man, is he the best back in it? Like, it is. We're splitting hairs on these 3 guys. They're different running backs. Like, to me, Swift is the more game breaky, flashy. J.K. Dobbins is like the next level down of flashy, but just a little bit better at being a hard runner. And then Jonathan Taylor's a hard runner, like, get out of my way, I'm taking it to the house kind of guy.
Yeah, it's
not
literally
exactly flashy.
Like whatever entree you want is
Right,
it's available.
yeah. It's
like
available, yeah.
Cruise ship buffet right here.
And for that reason, I have J.K. Dobbins, his one-liner on him, he's the best all-around back in this draft, easily. Speed, vision's crazy with him, too. He's got great vision, really good size. What you wanted a running back, that's the size that he has. He seems a little less quick twitch than Swift and Taylor to me. Just a little bit. Like, he's fast and he can maneuver. He can be shifty, but I just see a little bit less of that quick twitch, and I pay attention to the quick twitch with a lot of those guys. Like, there's just his movements are a little more drawn out than Swift. And Taylor, he impressed me with the way he contorts his body. J.K. Dobbins is right up there with him. A little bit less to me.
Yeah,
Just a tiny bit.
I would lay money that Dobbins, in all the quick twitch, so the lateral agility, I'll lay money Dobbins can outperform Swift.
We'll see. I don't know.
I think he's going to be the best of the 3.
Well, I'm looking at this kind of combine standpoint. Like, I think that Dobbins is.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, we're talking
Okay.
the 3 cone.
Yeah.
The lateral agility and the 40. I think he's going to beat both of them.
I can't wait for the combine. We're going to find out.
I don't think Dobbins will. I don't think he'll have the best 40 time out of them, but
That's my only concern is the 40.
well, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I
but
mean?
Yeah,
Like the lateral
all should
agility,
be
I think
pretty
he's
close.
going to blow both. Not only blow both of them away. I think he's going to beat both of them.
Neil said Eddie George would like to have a word with you, Arms. J.K. Dobbins, his pass pro does need a little bit of work. His work ethic does not. Got one of the best work ethics coming out of this class. I did notice that he can be tackled if he doesn't break away. Like, if he's against a sound tackler, like, I think he can be brought down a little easier than Taylor and Swift. Swift, just because he can, juke out of it and this and that. But J.K. Dobbins, I do think a little bit that he can fall suspect to a sure tackler over the other 2 guys. But that being said, again, I struggled with ranking these guys. Dobbins for like probably a third for all these guys. A third of the film I was watching, I was like, man, that he could be the best back in this draft.
Yeah.
Then I move on. I'm like, man, Jonathan Taylor could be the best back in this. Man, DeAndre, it's tough. So it boiled all the way down to personal preference. And the personal preference on what I want on my Miami Dolphins team is Jonathan Taylor. Honestly, next, even though I have Swift ahead of him, I'd rather Miami take Dobbins because I think we need an all-around back, and I think Swift could not stand up to 25 carries a game or 20. I don't know how Miami's going to run it, whether they want a 2-back system, but we'll see. That's all I got on Dobbins. This is where it gets interesting to me. Just like with the quarterbacks, we have Tua and Burrow. Running backs, we got these 3. And then there's a drop.
It's gonna get real interesting here in
yeah.
just a second.
It is for me too.
Because I've told you who my 1 is, and I've told you who my 2 is, but my number 3 is not DeAndre Swift.
Is it a Buckeyes backup running back?
No, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh, see, it is going to get interesting. Let's roll.
So, all right, granted, basically 1 season. Okay.
Yep.
Last year, the LSU Tigers were just an above-average team. They weren't great, and his numbers reflected it. But this year, 1,414 yards, 16 touchdowns. I have 55 more receptions on that for 453 yards. So he's probably the best pass catcher out of all of them out of the backfield.
Currently.
Out of all 3 that we've
I don't know
seen.
if he'll end up being that, but currently, yeah.
Here's what I like about him, and this is why I have him over Swift. He picks and chooses his spots. If he needs 2 yards and he sees 2 yards right here, that's where he goes. He doesn't try to dance around to get 10, right? So he gets what his team needs. Now, downside, he's going to get caught a little bit more from behind than the other 3.
Not a little bit. Quite a bit more.
Oh, yeah. No, we're talking a tenth of a second, though, between these guys. I would almost guarantee it.
I saw his speed taper off.
Yeah, he
30, 40 yards downfield.
Yeah, he doesn't have.
I'm going to go 30.
But-
I'm not even going to say 40. 30
But-
yards downfield, he a step slower.
But that's 30 yards downfield. And
I get it.
How many 30-yard downfield? How many times do you get 30 yards downfield in a game?
Let me say 20 then. I'll go 20.
But even still, but 20 is a big ass game.
It's a good game. Yeah.
But I think that he has just a better way of picking his spot to get through the hole. And I like his decision making better than I do DeAndre Swift, and that's why I have him.
I like his decision making better too.
It's super
bar
close.
none.
It's super close still. DeAndre Swift's an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
Hucks. CEH.
He only had 370 career carries, so that's a plus in a way. He don't have the wear and tear. He's got a good jump cut, good vision, good lower body strength, good balance. He's average at pass protection, I think. But I've watched a good bit of LSU obviously this year, and just watching some film. He wasn't really asked to protect a lot either. So I mean,
No, he wasn't.
So I mean, that could obviously improve. He's got good hands. Obviously, I don't think they're the best. I mean, he had 55 catches, but I don't think he's as good of a natural pass catcher as I think Swift is better.
He's probably a better route runner, though. It seems very crisp what he does.
And then the con I had on him was what's already been mentioned is his top end speed in the open field. He's going to get caught from behind.
Yeah. I like that Joe Burrow said he was the best athlete on that LSU team. We're talking guys like Thaddeus Moss,
Jamar
Jefferson,
Chase.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So to say that about Edwards-Helaire, that's glowing words.
It's a great job trying to get your boy drafted, huh?
He's number 5 on my list, by the way.
He's number 5 on my list as well. I've got him as a grinder. That's kind of my one word on him, my one-liner. Really good body control, good mid-body control, great balance, good pass catcher. He's built to be a bell cow. I mean, he's not going to be your change of pace back. Like, you're going to want to give this guy carries. Like, he's going to grind it out for you. Excuse me. He's going to grind it out for me, for you, and that's what you want out of an NFL, back. The right team has to draft him. A one-back system needs to draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Think Pittsburgh.
Yep.
What kind of fit would this guy be in Pittsburgh? He needs to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, and they need to feed him like they did Lev Bell, get him out of the backfield short like Lev Bell. The guy reminds me of a poor – now, I don't know if I'll say poor man's. This is a talented class. Maurice Jones-Drew.
Okay.
This guy's very MJD to
Yeah,
me.
I mean, he's 5'8", so I mean, he's kind of short.
Well, he's got those
MJD.
legs. Those
And he's
legs
got
are
those big
tree
legs,
trunks.
yeah.
They just and the way he moves, even the way he gets into the end zone. I saw a lot of Maurice Jones-Drew to his
agree.
game. His pass pro needs work. I'm kind of big on that this year. His long speed is not great. I don't think he's going to test very well at the combine. That's kind of a worry of mine. The 1-year wonder thing, kind of a worry of mine on a really, really good team.
Yeah, that was another concern of mine. I mean, is he just a part of this historical offense?
Yeah, and I think
No,
he's
it's
good
entirely
enough.
possible.
So I mean, it's very possible. So
But
I think he's good enough to be an NFL starter.
Oh, yeah, I do
I
too.
have 5 guys that I would be very comfortable with as my starting running back in the NFL, and he's one of them.
But we can make an argument against everyone. Like, so you got Justin Fields to be also the rushing threat to help Dobbins.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You've got,
Yeah, but
that amazing
Dobbins
offense.
did it before this year too.
I know,
So
but always in a
they're
scheme,
always
right?
another. Yeah.
But Georgia has always been this, great run-first team that's always had an amazing offensive line, and by the way, has had the same quarterback for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Who's pretty darn good.
It's
And-
hard
and
to
then-
knock
and
them.
then-
They all
He's
3
okay.
play on great
Yeah, I mean, you
teams.
can-
And then Wisconsin, hell, it's Jonathan Taylor. He's coming at you.
Yeah.
But you also know if he doesn't get 5 yards this carry, they're going to give it to him again and again and again. And so there's a knock on every one of these guys.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
there's a question mark around each of them.
Like
but
there will be every year
Yeah.
with every running
Yeah.
back, except for
Exactly.
maybe Saquon, and that didn't. So far, that hasn't worked out to be. He's not the best in the world. He might be eventually, but yeah,
sophomore slump. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah,
No, I'm not either. Not at all. I'm just saying, like, I think everybody thought, like, oh, this guy's perennial 1,700 yard back and 80 catches. The team's not that great. So, I mean, we might see some of these guys struggle on teams that aren't so good, but all these guys have the talent to be NFL starters. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but I don't love him. I won't be surprised if I watch more tape and someone knocks him out of my top 5.
So
But
here's
I still like him. If Miami drafts him, I'm going to be excited
one
because he's a
thing that
good running back.
One thing I like about him is so he might fall to the late second, late third, even. All right. So we're looking at a
guessing
team
third.
who doesn't need a running back, who has the luxury of taking him. Him going to a good team ended up in a great situation. Maybe he ends up being the guy who replaces a Marlon Mack, or he ends up in Houston, just out of a luxury pick.
Kansas City. Or,
Yeah. Like, I could see him end up in the best situation out of all of them, especially if there's a run on first-round running backs.
Yeah. Wouldn't
Yeah.
doubt.
I agree.
So here's my number 4.
And by the way, when I say I have him as 3, I think Swift will get drafted higher than him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying my opinion
Right,
on how
yeah,
he's
yeah,
going
yeah.
to perform as a rookie.
Gotcha. That's a big one. I mean, putting him above Swift. There's some other people with the same opinion. I've seen a lot of Clyde Edwards-Helaire hype on Twitter, especially lately. But number 4, this is a guy I am more intrigued by than any of these guys. And the only reason I'm intrigued, he's number 4 for a reason. I wouldn't put him in the conversation with the top 3, but I'm very intrigued to see if this is that one guy that vastly outperforms what he did in college, and it's Cam Akers.
Oh, that's my number 4 also,
Dude,
buddy.
Cam Akers.
That's my number 5.
Let's,
I love him.
I'll start out because
go ahead.
no, Hux, you know what? You start
have
out.
him above Edwards
you're
Helaire? All right.
He's
Yeah,
a
he's-
Florida State fan.
Yeah.
And
so I don't
he
want to be
loves him.
biased, but yeah, but I mean,
But I'm
hear
going to
it.
be. So.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. All right. Cam Akers, obviously, Florida State's been down last few years.
What?
Atrocious offensive line. So to look at his numbers, last year, this year was, I mean, numbers wise, 1,144 yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 yards to carry, 30 catches, but behind that offensive line,
One of the worst
I think,
in
literally
football.
one of the worst in 130 plus, whatever they in Division One.
It's definitely the worst in the Power
Bottom-
5.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
It's low.
Yeah.
At worst, it's low.
Right.
But yeah, I'm really intrigued to see him in the NFL behind a good offensive line because he has all the talent in the world. I mean, this kid was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Top. I'm not sure exactly what running back he was coming in. He was
Top 2.
Top 2, yeah. One of the interesting stats I saw, I think this was on Pro Football Focus, was 3.9 yards of his 5 yards per carry came after contact. So, I mean, this kid was getting hit, like, as soon as he touched the fucking ball.
Jesus.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
see Clemson last 3 years.
yeah.
Like,
But,
dude,
I
it was
mean,
bad.
He's elusive. He's a powerful runner. He has good balance. His pass protection could use a little work, but I think it's more of a technique thing. So I think he can be coached up on that. And it didn't help that them guys were getting through that line so quick anyway. So it's like, I noticed that he would help out an extra lineman instead of maybe getting that blitz guy. So I think it's something that can be worked on. He has good vision as a runner. I think that'll improve with a better offensive
How
line.
can you tell?
Right. Well, I mean,
I mean,
I know. Yeah, it's hard to tell.
I felt like watching his film. I felt horrible for the guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even joking. I felt horrible because like I'm watching games. I mean, against Clemson, and this is not to hijack what you're doing, but against
No, you're
top
good.
25, he did okay other than against Clemson, 9 for 34. The previous year, he had like, it was either 7 for 11 or 11 for 7.
Yeah, and they had their ass whipped. So
Oh my God. Yeah, but I was trying to look for something.
yeah.
And
you're
against
not gonna-
Clemson?
you're not going to find it in that game.
Well, he had some pretty decent pass protection.
Yeah.
So you're knocking him, and that was, I
Well,
looked
I
at him
mean-
like, you know what? He picked up the blitz guy several times and stood some people up. But continue. Sorry.
I'm almost done. He has the talent to be a good receiver. I know his route running isn't the best, but he does have good hands. So I think he can be a 3-down back.
I absolutely do. I 1,000%
yeah.
think he can be a 3-down back.
That's really all I got.
I've something that stuck out to me immediately. Cam Akers is the smoothest runner in this class. Like, he's a little bit of a strider, not a long strider, but he just kind of glides like a gazelle. Everywhere that he goes on the field, his eyes are all over the field. His vision might be the best in this class, in my opinion. Everything that he does looks absolutely effortless. Like, I don't see crazy effort because he doesn't have to. He's one of the most intelligent running backs I've seen on tape in a while as far as his movement, patience, vision, speed. Some of the concerns I have, though, he does run kind of upright, and he's not exactly, he's not 6 foot, but he runs a little upright, so I do worry about him getting stood up here and there.
Yeah, 5'11",
5'11",
212.
212.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for some reason he looks like, a 6'1" running back out there. He looks a little Latavius Murray or what's Bush from Oakland. He was a little bit of an upright. Michael Bush.
Michael Bush, yeah.
So, but man, the upside with Cam Akers, if he gets behind a good offensive line on a good team, it's really kind of sky high. He bounces.
The talent is definitely there for him.
It's there, and he bounces off, tackles like constantly. I'm choked up a little. Not choked up. I'm tripped up because I do not want to forget this. But our boy Eric McGinnis said if Travis Etienne came out, where would he have ranked? So I got to get that out before I move forward.
I made this list, initially back in early January before everybody declared or came back, ETN was my number 2.
I'd have him like 3, 4, 5 in that range.
I would probably
Like
have
that
him-
interchangeable with Elaire and Swift.
Yeah, he would just enter the interchangeable. I would have a hard time ranking him with the other 3. It'd be the big 4,
Yeah.
instead of the big 3 for me. But I didn't spend a lot of time watching tape on him because he's not in the class. But
Yeah.
I am pretty confident he'd be in my top 4.
I want to throw this out there about Cam Akers real quick. In high school, he was a starting quarterback. His senior season stat line in high school, 3,218 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,015 rushing yards, 34 rushing touchdowns.
Now let me say, Neil says ETN easy number 1. Wonder why he says that.
Can't
I
imagine.
don't know.
What team
Next
does Neil
year,
like?
you're probably right.
What team does Neil like again? I don't.
All of them.
All.
So-
let me finish with
Okay,
Cam.
sorry. I thought you were done.
No, dude hits holes really well. Again, that comes with the vision. I've said this a million times. This pass pro does need work, like Hux has said. But man, this could be that home run that you could get in the late second, early third. This could be that home run pick where if you passed on the top 3, waited around, and if somebody gets Cam Akers like a full round later than the last guy in the big 3, it's very possible that they get the steal of the draft. I'm that high on him.
Yeah, I
Anything
agree.
else, sir?
No, I agree. I think late seconds the highest he probably goes. I think, but I think it can definitely be a steal.
So, great big playability. 5 games with plays of 30-plus yards. Stats definitely don't do him justice because, I mean, he may not get tackled by the first guy, but he's also losing 2 yards when the second guy hits him too. And it's not his fault. And I'm straight up, it is not his fault for those things.
Yeah, it's not like he's playing with Shane Falco. He's
But-
not.
But sometimes he takes plays off. Sometimes he gives up on a fake. So I don't know if he doesn't get hit. Like, he does not carry out a fake at all. You know, it leaves. There's a play whenever they were playing Florida that he literally just fanned a dude by him to hit his quarterback when his quarterback was rolling out for, you know, a run. Like, what are you doing, man?
Stay healthy for the league.
And, like, whenever they do
That
it,
was the last game of the year
Whenever-
before the bowl
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
he had 107 or 102 yards in that game. He must put forth an effort somehow.
I can't
Screw
fault him on
James
that one.
Blackman. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in college football.
Yeah. No, we get your point.
But whenever there's, you know, a fake handoff, right? You know, he just literally goes, takes 2 steps, and stops. He doesn't try to, you know, make the defense account for him. He stops and just turns around and see what the hell's going on. Like, dude, your job is to make them think you have the ball.
Stopping and taking it all in so he knows what to do next time.
But I saw it several times, and that's what killed me, because I'm like, well, you know, they were getting beat by 30 at this point. But no, several times throughout his tape, it's just terrible carrying out fakes. Now, with that being said, that's coaching.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's something that can be coached out of him, and that's really my knock. That's it. I mean, the guy had a lot of carries for a loss, but you know, when you get hit by 5 guys,
Yeah.
that's going to happen.
Yeah, hard to combat that offensive line. Hux, I'm curious, who do you have at 6?
Zach Moss.
As do I. You want to get now? I knew Arms hated him. That's why I wanted to go this direction. So, Hux, lead us. Let's hear the hate last. Lead us off on Zach Moss.
Utah. He's 5'11", 220
215.
ish. 222 is what
222
I had
is what most places got him listed
Yeah.
at.
ESPN had him 215.
Right.
He had 1,416 yards, 15 touchdowns, 28 receptions, 6 yards a carry. Great balance. He's a patient runner. He's hard to take down. He's one of the more. I think he might be. I don't want to say the hardest guy to take down in this class, but he's really elusive. Like, he's not going to get tackled by that first guy.
No.
Oh, you're right.
No.
Powerful runner. He's not overly fast. He's not going to blow anybody away.
Nope.
That was one of the knocks I had on him.
But the long speed is a little better than Edwards Hilaire, in my opinion.
No, he's not.
I think it is.
God, no, it's not.
I think it is a little bit.
He's above average receiver, pass protector, good cuts, good lateral agility, great second effort, goes into, you know, not getting tackled. I think he can be a 3-down back. I'm intrigued by this guy. I need
am
to watch
too.
more tape. From what I watched, I like him.
I like him too. I like how tough he is. Now listen, I'm not making the comparison as like he's the next this guy, but he
He's
has
next Alfred Morris.
he has a little bit of Derrick Henry in his game. I mean, just a little bit. He's got that style
I
of
think
violent running.
I think he reminds me of Le'Veon Bell a little bit with his patient running. He kind of, I don't know.
He is patient, but I mean, whenever he's running into people,
Yeah.
like he's got this tiny bit of Henry to him. I'm not saying that's who he's going to be, but he's
Yeah, because
powerful.
he don't have Henry speed.
No, he does. He can't run. How fast did Henry run? Like clocked in at like 70 miles an hour or something like
Yeah,
that.
I don't know.
No,
something, something
Zach
stupid
Moss,
for being 240 pounds or whatever the hell he is.
Yeah, it's crazy. Zach Moss isn't going to do that, but he is powerful. His speed is enough, I think, at the next level. It's not much above average for the NFL, but I think it's going to be enough. He
No, I
should.
mean, he'll probably run like a 4.6 something 40.
I figured
mean, yeah.
4.65.
Yeah.
4.6, 4.65.
yeah, my biggest worries, one,
He does have an injury history too. I didn't really look. I think he had a knee injury or something that was pretty significant. I think. I might be thinking of the wrong guy here, but
I do worry about him coming from Utah. I was pretty big on Devonta Booker too, and so far, nothing. So I mean,
that ship sailed, brother.
yeah, oh
that
yeah.
one's over.
He's a
It's
free
not,
agent.
This isn't a so far situation.
He's a free agent.
Okay.
He's a free agent. We could see some Booker in Miami, but Zach Moss, he was.
How many running backs you guys signed this year? Like 42?
At least 6. He was not great in pass pro, but he wasn't asked a lot. So I think his size, his toughness, I think he can pick that up pretty quickly. But I'm intrigued by Zach Moss. Nowhere near the same level as Cam Akers, but I am intrigued by him. I do kind of put him in the same tier as Edwards-Helaire. There's nothing elite about either.
Yeah, it
but
wouldn't surprise
would
me
be-
at all if he moved up to 5 for me.
Yeah.
and
Same.
CEH dropped
Same.
1.
But I would be happy with my team bringing, either one of those guys in. Zach Moss, if he came to Miami, I would be positive about it. So I'll say that. Arms, bring
Let's hear the
the
hate.
hate.
I don't hate him as bad as you think, but so 7 games, 30 plus, a 30+ yard gain, a downhill guy, doesn't wow you with too much of anything. Like doesn't make it. He just doesn't make people miss. When you say nobody brings him down on the first tackle or first hit, that's because he's not making anybody like. It's just he's gliding through somebody. He's hard to tackle. Absolutely
Very hard to tackle.
He's very hard to tackle, but he's also just like he's getting hit 2-3 yards from the line of scrimmage. He's busting through it, but the next guy's getting him.
I'll take 4 to 5 yards every time.
But this is the Pac-12 now, and not the NFL. All right, the NFL. He's not
yeah,
going.
he's going to have better offensive line, and
I
all that
doubt
shit.
it.
You
I
don't-
doubt it. Utah was a good team.
Okay, but he's going
Comparatively-
he's going to have an NFL offensive line. It's going to be better.
Okay, Utah in the Pac-12 is good. You understand that? He had 1,416 yards.
How many offensive linemen on Utah is going to go to the NFL? Maybe one.
How many defensive linemen in the Pac-12 are going to the NFL? Not a lot.
Hux is
Anyhow,
Hux
the-
is like,
The kid seems to have a pretty good spin move. Like
He
that's,
does.
That's about it. Like that's it's like he's got one move and all the rest of it's just run straight. Like he doesn't lose yards. I'll give you that. Like I don't hate him from that aspect, but I think it's going to have to be a scheme situation before I like his landing spot. Like he's going to have to go to a power run, someone who doesn't ask him to do a lot of left and right.
lot of anything, according to your
No, I
your
don't-
breakdown.
I think he'd be. A good,
I have him as honest to God, I've got him like 10th.
Woo.
I think he'd be a good fit for like Houston or
One cut scheme. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
This-
It's a
Houston.
shame he can't cut, but yeah.
This means that you have the guy I hate the most ahead of a guy that I actually like in Zach Moss, which is nuts. Let's
It wouldn't
lead
shock me
lead
if
us
he,
off
he
with the next
tested
one.
horribly in the 40 and the agility drills. Like bad, like to drop his stock.
Lead us to water.
I don't
with
even
your-
like my 7 or 8. That's just who I have down. But let's go.
So my 6
I
is,
do like my 7.
my 6 is actually the Michael P. Ryan.
yeah, I don't even have him down here.
Yeah, he might be in the
I
sleeper.
watched a little bit of tape, but I didn't get him wrote down.
Maybe in the sleeper episode.
Florida running back. They run running back up by committee, so doesn't have a lot of mileage on him. Had 132 carries for 676 yards, 6 touchdowns, 40 more receptions for 262 and 5. Here's what I see with him. He's quick, decisive, basically one cut and go. He was ranked usually a couple spots behind Zach Moss in most people's drafts, and I literally that's one of my notes. I like him better than Zach Moss. I think his NFL potential is higher.
Yeah, I don't.
I got nothing on him, so moving
either.
on. He'll probably be in the sleepers episode. He just wasn't in my top.
Yeah, I'm
8.
definitely. I mean, this is definitely early.
Yeah,
We got the
early in
combine
process.
coming up. I mean, it could change some things with some of these guys. Not the top, but some of
Yeah.
these back end guys. It could change a lot of.
Yeah, I mean we're talking third to fifth round guys at this
Yeah.
point.
Who's your next guy, Arms? Just because, give us your next guy and then pass it over to Hux.
Darius Anderson, TCU.
Dang
I don't
on.
have him either.
Okay, Hux, who's your next guy?
My number 7 is Eno Benjamin from Arizona State.
There we go. We're on the right track now.
All right.
I don't even have him down.
And
I won't before long because he's the guy that a lot of consensus top 8s, and I don't like him. I don't like him much at all.
the little bit I got wrote down is he's actually a pretty good power runner for his size. He's kind of smaller, but he runs with more power than what his size shows. He's got pretty good patience. I mean, he can catch the ball pretty well.
Yeah, I
That's about
think
it.
he's good in the open field a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got solid moves. He's a hard runner. I just see him as a half step slow. I don't see anything that pops out at all. He's not big.
No, not at all.
The guy is dropping 10 pounds to try to improve his 40 time, but he's not going to play in the NFL at under 200 pounds. So what's it matter?
Yeah, I got him at 5'10", 201, but yeah, if he's trying to
Yeah,
up
oh, yeah,
190.
whatever.
He's already
Yeah,
down
whatever.
he's already down in the 190s, I
Yeah.
guess. Like I just if you're not fast, you're not fast. I just don't see anything special about the guy. I mean, he could be a decent change of pace, in my opinion.
But can you be a change pace back if you're not that fast?
I mean, we see
You know what I
guys
mean?
like Jordan Howard be a change of pace back. Like, he could be somebody
breather
that they
guy.
roll out. Yeah, breather guy. There was nothing that stood out about him. His toughness a little bit, like, at the goal line, he really fought to get in. He fights for everything he gets. He's just not that athletically gifted, unfortunately. So, not a big fan of Eno Benjamin. I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, I just had him wrote down as my 7. I'm not a huge guy. I didn't have a whole lot wrote down, but
He averaged 4.3 yards a carry.
Yeah, no.
Like, Jesus criminy.
In college, that's just not good enough.
I mean, it's garbage in college is what it is. I mean, that if that's all you're doing in the Pac-12, like, you are not an NFL running back.
Who we got next? Rounding it off. Give us any guys you got next, because me and Huck's got one apiece.
All right, hold on.
So give us your guys
I'll
from
give you Darius
Appalachia
Anderson.
State.
But his nickname's Jet for a reason. Like,
I don't want to talk
he's-
about him. I just want to know who you got.
I'm going to give you the reasoning behind it. He's small, though, 5'9", 195. You were talking about that 200 mark kind of is the magic number. Shifty, he's got elite speed and runs with power for his size, but very similar to like Michael P. Ryan. Not a lot of carries in college.
Donnell Pumphrey like power, right?
This guy's got more power than
Okay,
Donnell
okay.
Pumphrey. Don't worry.
XFL superstar. Don't hate him too much.
Not a ton of carries, though, 151 yards, but got 823 yards out of it, 6 touchdowns. Just, I think he's going to be an excellent change of pace for somebody. Change of pace guy. He's not going to be a 3-down guy. I don't think Michael P. Ryan's going to be a 3-down guy. Couple of the other guys I've got, Keyshawn Vaughn.
that's my number 8.
Okay, go ahead. You go on him.
Don't have a lot wrote down. Don't even really care for the guy much, but he just happened to be a number 8. He's not a very good pass protector. He's a hard runner. I think he's probably just a 2-down back. He's average at receiving. I'm not even sure. I mean, if he don't work on the pass protecting, he's probably not going to play a whole lot. Unless I see some more I like. That's just where I'm at my number 8.
You have anything on him?
I do not. You guys left me one of my biggest sleepers that I consider a top 8 to end the show with. Do you have anybody before I end the show with McFarland?
I'll talk about Keyshawn Vaughn real quick.
Go ahead.
Runs with more power than Wiggle. Could be a solid late round pick, but we're talking like late pick. For someone who
I'd
doesn't,
say 5th, 6th round for him.
yeah, but someone who doesn't need a running back, but could get an opportunity through injury. I don't think he's like, if he's off my fantasy radar, I'll tell you that much. Then comes AJ Dillon. All right.
Both those guys, Vaughn and Dillon, I'm excited to watch some tape on and get into another episode.
So Dillon, 6 foot 245. They're thinking he might move to fullback in the NFL, and I'd hate to see it, man. He's explosive for his size, as you talked about with Moss. Rarely tackled on the first contact. Very north-south, but has some moves. My thought on him is it's going to be interesting if somebody tries to make him discount Derrick Henry.
Discount DDH.
Yeah, I very little on AJ Dillon. I did watch a few games with him. I mean, not full games, but over the last couple of years in the ACC. But I mean, he's a good short yardage guy, obviously because of his size. But I mean,
Man, he had some chunk plays.
yeah, he did. But I mean, I think that could be his best role. Maybe as a short yardage guy.
Probably. I mean, 245 pounds most likely
Yeah,
is.
I mean,
But let's keep in
I
mind,
don't
we
have a
thought the
whole
same thing about Derrick Henry. Like that was the general consensus is that,
I don't know. I
man,
don't know if that was.
I don't think anyone thought he was going to be a 3-down back in the NFL.
No,
really.
I did.
Yeah, just because, dude, he got some wheels, man.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. The only reason I didn't jump at the chance to draft him is because, pass catching. I'm looking for that guy that gives me 1,000 and 1,000 if at all possible, and he wasn't that guy. But now I'm pretty high on Henry because he's just a special talent.
Oh yeah, far higher on him than it was. I can
Yeah.
tell you that much.
So I'll to end it off right at an hour, right where we want to be. You guys left me one of my favorite guys in this draft. Not exactly for fantasy production, but just potential. Anthony McFarland out of
Booger?
Maryland.
Booger McFarland?
Not Booger.
Oh, not Booger,
Anthony
okay.
McFarland out of Maryland. Kid's 5'9", 198, a little bit undersized, a little bit slender, but if he could add 10 pounds to his frame, the guy could possibly be a real surprise at the next level. This guy is speed. He is fast. Chris Johnson fast, at least when you're watching the tape on the field. Dude looks Chris Johnson fast. He was really good in 2018. Injuries derailed his 2019. If he can stay healthy, though, this guy is somebody that could be a really good player in the league, given the right opportunity, with the right workout regimen, and if he can somehow keep that speed, if he adds 10 pounds, this kid could be a real sleeper, could be a real value pick as well. I like Anthony McFarland a lot. I had him as my number 7 because I'd be willing to take the chance on him if I'm an NFL team where the name of the game right now is speed. Anthony McFarland's got it, probably more than anybody else in his class. He's probably going to jump off the charts at the combine.
Not
So-
sure that no, because this might be even a personal, because he's redshirt sophomore, and he's not, one of the highest guys. I wonder what made him come out.
I think it's that potential and that speed. I think he's banking on himself at the combine. Because, some guys do go to the combine. Chris Johnson's one of them. What's the old Chris Henry, not the wide receiver, but the running back, the Arizona kid?
Yeah.
That guy had no business being drafted where he was drafted, but the combine put him there.
Yeah, he ran
So-
like a 4.32 or something.
Yeah, so I think Anthony McFarland could open a lot of eyes at the combine, and teams are like, all right, we're going to draft this kid in the late 3rd or early
He really
4th.
isn't kind of an unknown, because I looked him up as you're talking about him. Only 269 career touches in
Yeah.
college.
Here's the best part about him. I'm sorry, but I was pulling him up as well. Tried to get some stats on him. 6 foot, 198. But they got a picture of Booger.
That's hilarious.
They've got all of his information from Maryland.
Is that just a Google?
Yeah, just a random Google search has a
Anthony
picture of Booger.
McFarland Jr.
Oh God,
my
that is great.
God, that is Well, there's your claim to fame is Booger. Unfortunately, you can't even get your own picture on the internet.
the Draft Network, their NFL comparison for him is Ahmad Bradshaw. What do you think about that?
Ahmad Bradshaw was a solid back, but I don't really see a lot of Bradshaw in him. Just not what I see on tape. But I see a possible game breaker. I see a little bit of Kamara, a little bit of Chris Johnson. Now somebody just needs to develop him and hope he stays healthy.
Does he have a receiving abilities of those
Yeah.
two guys you just said?
Yeah, maybe not of those two guys, but he's a capable patch.
Okay.
He's a capable patch catcher, capable pass catcher. So there you go. Hour
I'm
in.
gonna have to look into him more.
Yeah,
I am too.
watch. The tape is pretty exciting. It's not long because he doesn't have a ton of run in college, but dude's fast, really fast. So
So the Raiders are gonna take him.
We don't need a running back. Thank
Raiders
you.
all
You
day
need
long.
a
You-
number
you-
2.
You kind
Jalen
of
Richard ain't.
We're-
We'll see.
if we take him, hope 4th round. I'm cool with that.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, so there is our first round of running backs. Obviously, we got a lot of offseason to go.
1st round of running backs.
Yeah.
Not first
of
round running backs.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of time to go. There's more guys to break tape down on, but we wanted to at least get the top guys out there. I hate to even mention, Benjamin as one of the top guys. So, anyways,
Listen, there's like 30 guys worth looking at.
it's a good draft. Like, really good draft. We'll probably find a diamond in the rough listed as like the 20th best back to come out this year.
Yeah, jump up to like 5. It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, this guy.
Yeah.
Oops.
It happens. So, join us next week. We're going to talk wide receivers. That could be a lengthy show.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That could be. Oh,
We
could
may not
also-
get out of the SEC.
We could just run top 10 and just keep working. There's plenty of off season to go.
Oh, my
so
God.
join us next week. Hopefully you enjoyed a little rookie talk. Follow us at the Back Row Show on Twitter. Rate, review, subscribe, and you can also click a little donate button. Help us get Hux a new pair of studio headphones.
I'm down with
I'll
that.
take it.
He'll take it. Mark's out. Peace out. You guys have a good night.
Good night.
See ya.
This concludes another episode of the Back Row Fantasy Show. Thanks for listening, and be sure to give us a review.